In this video, we're going to finish up preparing the Rhino file for rendering with Lumion. So last time we were able to join these curve segments into closed curves, and we created a larger surface with this curve right here using the patch command, and then we split that larger surface into two um, using the split command. This inner curve was the splitting object. So today we're going to create more surfaces with closed curves by splitting this larger surface into multiple polygons using other curves that we already created. So let's go back to the layer window right here. So we'll turn on the path image, which has all these other curves that we can use as splitting objects. So what we might want to do is to actually turn off some of the 3D objects that might be in the way, so you can better see the curve. So what we can do is to start organizing our layers that will make it easier for rendering in Lumion. So what we are aiming for is to create separate layers for everything that will have separate texture in terms of materials and colors and so on. So let's right click, and then you'll see the sub menu, and then let's choose the top option, new layer. And then let's type in 00 at the beginning of your layer name. So this layer is always going to move to the top. So we will know that whatever doesn't have it will not be as relevant, and it's easier in terms of working more efficiently. So let's then do an underscore right here. And then we would just say, here's my structure. And then after the structure, maybe the structure will have different material. Right now, we can just say material 1. And then you can think about what material you're going to have when you look at the actual materials themselves. So, and then we can just click somewhere else on this window to get out of that layer name command. So, for example, maybe I only want to select the roof, and then this is when you can double check whether you have duplicate copies. So, I double check that that wasn't a duplicate copy, so I can basically keep it. And then to move it to a different layer. So right now it's on the path image layer. To move it to a different layer, you would just right click on that new layer you created. And then here we can say change object layer. Down here, navigate to the towards the bottom and select change object layer. So now you'll see how that object just changed color. So it just got moved to that new layer. You can kind of turn it on and off just to double check. Okay, so we know that the roof, in my case, I might just make it easier and select the other surfaces is the same material, and then in this case I'm going to add to that layer as well, and so on. So maybe you want to create one for planter. Go to new layer 00 underscore. We will say planter. And then for planter, there might be lawn panels versus the sitting edge. So in this case, let's make sure that it has a different color, because we know the lawn is definitely going to have a different color, different texture. So here's your planter, you can go here and right click and change object layer. And then we might create another one that says 0, 0 and planter and seating area. So we want to give the seating area a different color. For now, we don't know what it's going to be. We will just choose a color that will allow us to tell it apart from the other objects. So I'm going to choose a distinct color right here. And then select the poly surface and then move the object to layer. So you can see how there might be something that got left out. You might want to zoom in and choose it more carefully. And then this one right here, I want to move it to the structure. Maybe I make the structure all the same material for now, just for demonstration purposes. And then the seating, maybe we can use the planter seating, the same kind of material. Okay, so for demonstration purposes, I will just make these the same. You might want to give it a different texture and color. And make the seating make that all the same. Actually, for the sitting edge right here. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is to turn off all these vertical objects, and when you do that, you can actually catch additional objects that actually got left out and change them to the object layer. So you can see how we created some surfaces already, but to avoid duplicating them, we might want to delete them. So we want to delete this one that we use for references, and you might want to delete this surface right here. Okay, now we have a very clean scene of all the curves with this larger surface. So the next thing we can do is to split this larger surface into smaller polygons. So let's select the larger surface and then type in split. And then the cutting object can be all these closed polygon. You could do it one by one. I just select one and I right click, hit the space bar or enter. You can see how I just created a separate polygon. So hit the space bar again to repeat the command and select the larger surface first. And then we'll select the object to split. Choose one of the curve and hit enter. We'll actually select cutting object. So now you can see how we created another separate polygon again. And this is also the time when we can remove any duplicates. You know, if you click on an object and then you see multiple objects showing up, you can select one of them and remove duplicate copies. All right, so I will see you in the next video.